As I sat down in my lounge, waiting for Edmund to refill my liquor glass, which I have to confess I am recurrently using as a form of escape from the terrible situation surrounding me, I could not help but wonder.
Was the pandemic fair? For rich people?
Recently, a war has been declared against these kind of statements, sometimes even considered as a comment to be kept behind closed doors. Oh, I shook myself. Edmund. Once again, Edmund. As I was trying to concentrate and finally finish the memoir he knows I have been working on for as long as I can remember, without even a prior warning, he came in, slowly approaching from my back and refilling my glass with dark liquor. How am I supposed to concentrate? What if, let's assume, I'm unable to find a sacred space to devote my creativity in my own home? Once again, I controlled myself and made use of my emotional resilience. Politely, I thanked Edmund and mentioned to him that
Thank you. I will not be needing your services for the rest of the night.
I was surprised to hear his silent response, seeing him nod and leave the room without an apology or a simple sign of gratitude in his face. And I could not help but wonder.
Was it COVID fair? For rich people?
I cannot remember my last time at the Refinery 27. Perhaps since our last dinner at the St. Vincent Hotel, where, without being much of a surprise,
Valeria
did not even acknowledge my presence, clearly bothered by the thought of my hands carrying the germs she so much feared of the so-called
the new disease.
Valeria. She who can't be mentioned. I won't be ashamed. I had given her a life with us. I had welcomed her in our circle. I hosted seasonal dinners for her, and how did she pay me back?
Valeria!
Not even considering shaking my hand at the St. Vincent Hotel. The evening continued. We chatted about the potential impacts of this kind of anomaly to the economy. Some guests in my table joked about moving to their upstate properties, and others talked about the spread in Europe.
Europeans.
They never get their things together, the gentleman on my right mentioned.
Never.
Little did I know about what the future had prepared for me. 9 months later, I could not help but wonder.
Was COVID fair? For rich people?
During these 9 months, I had not been able to celebrate any of my regular company gatherings, resulting in an incomparable loss of friendships and business relationships. Not to talk about the despair of laying half of my company and dealing with the discomfort of incompetent employees unable to do work as they should have been doing priorly. I could bear with the economic loss, but what about the pain of canceling my Argentinian birthday, for God's sake! I had to celebrate my 32nd birthday. Who would have imagined it? Going out of my way to convince that miserable pilot that my motives were of course humanitarianly inclined. My only 14 days of total disconnect during the winter.
Ruined! How?
How did I have the courage to limit my cohort to only 10 people? I had no clue.
10 people!
My grandfather always said, "My young, brave man, you have always had a deep sense of civility and respect for the country values."
You always do what is right.
And I did, risking lifetime friendships and strictly limited to the confines of our beach resort. I could not help but really wonder,
Was COVID really fair for rich people?
I got shocked again. Edmund is still here, behind me. He really thinks today's one of those days when I am not too serious about when to stop refilling my dark glass. Misfortunate human being. Never was I so surprised by the lack of limits that this gentleman has had with my generosity. Another Saturday passes by, trapped in my weekend home, until Sunday, and I could not help but wonder,
What if Edmund has the disease?
can a lifetime of misfortunate mistakes and clumsiness continue to be overlooked by myself? I refrain from sharing rooms with him any longer, and I guess I will write my memoir another day. It does not seem like the best Saturday to go diving into my turbulent memories anyway. Thanks for always listening to me, my dear and talented bright mind.